let's get into something very interesting that a Blasian man said. For those of y'all who don't know, somebody Blasian is somebody half black and half Asian. And for reference, Wasian is somebody half white and half Asian. Now, am I tripping, or do these people just make everything they touch corny? Because I'm pretty sure black people are the ones who came up with Blasian, and then suddenly Wasian popped into existence, and it was just like, baby, this is cornball. But anyway, let's get into what he said, right? So he said Blasians are better than Wasians, and then he listed a bunch of reasons why, right? So first he said they're more vocal about Asian issues. They're more in touch with their Asian culture. They contribute more to Asian communities despite being far less likely to get accepted in Asian spaces. They're more likely to date and marry full Asians. They do not have superiority complexes over full Asians. They're better looking. They don't take roles and representations from full Asians. They're socially aware. They're not a result of white idealism, fetishism, or the hating/devaluing of Asian men. There's a whole lot to talk about here. And of course, I'm going to be talking all about anti-blackness. Now, this is the reality. If you don't know this, then I'm led to believe it is your first day on earth. It has to be, right? We live in a white supremacist society. That is just a fact, all right? So in society's view, white people are up here and black people are down here, okay? This, first of all, is why I don't like when non-black people of color try to lump black people in with them and just call us all people of color. Because it's like, no, that does not tell the whole story. We live in a white supremacist society. So the opposite of whiteness, aka blackness, is going to be treated more poorly than these other groups that they're not white, but they're not the opposite of whiteness. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing I had to give a little aside to, right? So I shared that because that gives some complexity to this, this hierarchy, this social ladder, so to speak, right? Again, white people are up here, black people are down here, but non-black people of color, they make up the rungs on this ladder, so to speak. Now, this becomes even more convoluted when you bring up the topic of biracials, right? So again, white people up here, black people down here. Well, if I have a person who is half black and half white, then of course, they're going to be right there in the middle, right? But again, we said that these other groups of people who are not white, but they're not black, right? These non-black people of color, they're on different rungs of this ladder, right? And because of that, we end up with different rungs of biracials, okay? So this guy is talking about his experience as somebody half black and half Asian versus the experiences of somebody half white and half Asian. And I want to comment on a couple of these because they're so riddled with anti-blackness. It's like, come on now. The first thing I want to touch on is the fact that this guy said Blasians contribute more to Asian communities despite being far less likely to get accepted in Asian spaces. Well, why would a Blasian be less likely to be accepted into an Asian space than a Wasian? Oh, the answer is because Blasians are half black, which is looked down on, while Wasians are half white, which is looked up at, right? And this is not just something that Asians are, perpetuating. This is something even black people perpetuate, because this is the crazy thing, right? This guy who is half black and half Asian said he is very unlikely to be accepted into Asian communities because Asian communities look down on black people, right? But I promise you, if he went into the black community, black folks would accept him with open arms because of the exact opposite thing. Black people, a lot of us, have internalized this concept of our own inferiority, and because of that, we look up at other races. So black people would be so honored to accept somebody who is half Asian as a black person in a way that Asians would never do with somebody who's half black. Have you noticed that anytime somebody is half black, it doesn't matter what the other half is, they could be half black and half white, or half black and half Asian, or half black and half whatever, they're always regarded as black. Not just by black people, but by their other halves as well, right? Their other halves always tell them you're black, right? Have y'all ever noticed that? And it's crazy because black people always try to paint this as something positive. They're going to be in the comments doing it right now. I promise you. They're going to be like, oh, that's because the black gene is stronger. That's because, yeah, the seed is all that matters. The daddy black, the child black, so on, so on. So black people are always trying to turn this into something positive, but honestly, it's never been that. And hold up, because I just clocked my own tea, because I stay using the N-word, and I'd be like, oh yeah, we reclaimed it, right? We turned it into something positive. But it's like, homegirl, honestly, it never really was that. Oh, like I said, just clock my own tea. But anyway, let me get back on task, right? Black people are always trying to turn this into something positive when that's never been what it's about. These people regard the biracials of their communities as black, if they are half black, because they view blackness as so dirty and nasty and inferior. They're like, we'd never embrace somebody who is half black as one of us, because you're not as good as us. Somebody tell me if I just made this up, but I swear there's like a Chinese proverb that is like, oh yeah, it takes this many generations to get the black out. Basically like, oh, if somebody has a kid with a black person, it's going to take however many generations until the child is clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, I swear that's a Chinese proverb, but again, could have made that up, okay? My point is this. You quickly notice that biracials who are half black and half something else are always regarded as black. You notice that very quickly. Anyway, let me move on to my next point, right? This Blasian guy says that Blasians don't take roles and representations from full Asians. And like, I'm sorry, but maybe you don't take roles and representations from full Asians because Asians would never allow you to do that, okay? We all know that Asians are notorious for being very colorist, very anti-black. They're huge on, skin bleaching and stuff like that, right? And yes, I'm speaking on Asia in general. I'm not speaking on any specific region, okay? So that being said, why would they let somebody who is clearly half black represent them when they are big on like pale skin and skin bleaching and all of this other stuff? Like even the types of Asians who have brown skin, because not all of them, have lighter or white skin, right? Even the ones who have brown skin are very colorist against their own brown skinned populations. Like, they don't even like to let the brown and darker skinned people of their own places represent them in media. You think they're gonna let somebody have black represent them? Are you delusional? Like, you gotta be dumb. It's not that Blasians are not taking roles from Asians in the way that Wasians are. It's the fact that Asians would never fucking allow you to. Like, you couldn't if you tried, buddy. Then it has me confused. He talking about Blasians don't take roles and representations from full Asians, but y'all do that to black people though. Like literally biracials are always talking about how they're black period, so they can represent us on TV and they can speak for us and so and so and so and yada 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 because they're black. So y'all will take roles and representations from full black people, but then turn around and be like, oh no, I wouldn't do that to Asians though. And this is the bone that I be having to pick with biracials, because y'all be worshiping them non-black halves, but them black halves y'all be treating kind of bold. I'm not gonna hold you. Then he goes on to say that Blasians are not a result of white idealism, fetishism, or the hating and devaluing of Asian men, but y'all are the result of the hating and devaluing of black women. Like, huh? And I mean, y'all are the result of white idealism and fetishism, because a lot of black people have been indoctrinated with white supremacy to the point where they will take anything but a black person. And honestly, sometimes that happens to be an Asian person. And then the result could be a Blasian person. And he says that Blasians are more likely to date and marry full Asians. Yeah, because you're anti-black. You're anti-black. He created this whole post trying to make this seem like it's like so pro-Asian and awesome and this, that. But it was like horrifically anti-black though. Like, oh. I'm sorry, before I end this video, just side note, every time I say the word Blasian, I think of, y'all remember that show Johnny Test, Bling Bling Boy? Like, I don't know why, because it's just something, the way the Blasian, Bling Bling Boy, like the way your mouth moves or something. I don't know, like recording this video, it was tough, y'all.